Hey fam, and welcome to episode 2 of my series called Hella Health. If you haven't seen episode 1, you can click on the link in the corner, or there's one in the description below. Before starting, I want to give a quick shout out and thanks to my friend Lucas, who made the animation intro for this series. Thank you, Lucas. And once again, I'm going to ask you to pause the video and go get yourself a cold drink of water, because hydration is important. Pause the video and go get water now. Thank you very much. In this video, we are going to be talking about how health promotion people go about altering the health behavior of others using theories and models. I'm going to talk about the types of models that we learned about and an example of one of the types. So every individual working in this field has their own attitudes and beliefs that they bring to the table, and they can use several models and philosophies in their work to try to alter health behavior. The goal is to get people to be more healthy, and there are several ways to go about trying that. Also, the people that we serve have their own mindsets and philosophies and learning styles. So planning an intervention requires an understanding of the philosophies that you have and the philosophies that the person you're serving has. In Chapter 3 of our textbook, we learned all about theory. In relation to the profession of health promotion, theory is a general explanation of why people act or do not act to maintain and or promote the health of themselves, their families, organizations, and communities. That's straight from the textbook. Another word we used a lot in this lesson is model, which is defined as a mixture of ideas or concepts taken from any number of theories and used together. So models aim to represent and explain certain processes. These two things are very similar, so for our purposes, we are going to use the word model and theory interchangeably. The main theories we learned about fall into 3 categories. Intrapersonal, which means it's pertaining to attributes that are within an individual, such as skills, motivations, and attitudes. Interpersonal, focusing on the outside influences, such as the support, behavior, opinions, and thoughts of others that influence an individual's feelings and behavior. And community theories that focus on the influence of policy regulation and law on behaviors of the population. A very widely used theory in the intrapersonal category is the health belief model. This one was, I think, my favorite to learn about in class, so that's what we're gonna talk about in this episode. It says that an individual's personal beliefs have a major influence on the behaviors that they will do. And there are 4 major beliefs or components that go into this theory. They are perceived susceptibility, perceived severity, perceived benefits, and perceived barriers. Perceived susceptibility is the degree to which a person feels at risk. Like, how likely is it that this bad thing is going to happen to me? What are the chances of me getting this disease or illness? Perceived severity is the belief that the illness or disease is serious. Like, if I do get sick, how bad is it going to be? Perceived benefits is the belief that doing the health behavior, such as getting vaccines or going to get a checkup or cancer screenings, would be beneficial in reducing risk and threat of the illness and disease. Perceived barriers are the things that get in the way of the person doing the health behavior. So what excuses do they say for not doing the health behavior? They might say, I don't have time, the clinic is too far away, it's too expensive, I don't have the time to get screened or get prevention care, or I'm scared of the doctor, or I don't like needles, I'm afraid of needles, so that's one of the barriers for me. So people in this field study these 4 beliefs and see what they can do to alter a person's beliefs to get them to do the behavior. So they'll try to make the benefits seem greater than the barriers, or they'll emphasize how bad the illness is and increase the perceived severity. There's a lot of psychology in there, and they're trying to figure out the best way to alter someone's behavior by altering their attitudes and perceptions of an illness. Something we learned about in another subject, social psychology, is a thing called channel factors. Channel factors are situational circumstances that appear unimportant on the surface, but that can have great consequences for behavior by facilitating it, blocking it, or guiding it in a particular direction. And in the textbook, there was this cool example of a study by Howard Leventhal and his colleagues, and what they wanted to do was figure out how to persuade students at Yale to get tetanus shots. That's a preventative thing. Let's get vaccines and make sure we are implementing this care and make sure the students are doing this. So they took a bunch of students and they had them read about how bad tetanus is and showed them pictures and videos of what it looks like when you do get tetanus. And then they said, but not to worry, students, we have a free tetanus shot clinic right here on campus, so all you have to do is go get shots and you can prevent this from happening. And they interviewed the students afterward, and they found that pretty much all of them said, yeah, I intend to go get a shot. They said, yes, I'm all for it and I intend to. But only 3% of them actually went to get the shot. Participants in another condition were given a map of the campus with the health care services place circled and the times that they're open, and they were asked on site to look at their class schedule and come up with a good time that would be most convenient to go in and actually get the shot. Now, these were seniors, so they knew very well where the campus healthcare center is, and so they knew very well, but they found that the students in that condition that were asked to actively talk about it and make a plan, 28% of those people actually went to get shots. So 3% to 28%. So the channel factor in this study was the requirement to map out a plan. Like make a commitment verbally or writing it down. I don't know which one they did, but they were asked to make a plan. And that is a great example because, it's a prevention measure and it's about healthcare. And so you can see what channel factors are. They're little things that either make it more likely for someone to do something or make it lower for someone. Like how close is the facility? How expensive is it to get this care? Things like that. Like, I would go, but a big factor that plays into it is the fact that the clinic is very far and I just don't have time. So that's what a channel factor is. It's a little thing that has a big influence on whether someone's going to do something or not. And the biggest influencer, the biggest factor, is how close is the closest facility. This applies not only for healthcare, but for trying to get people to do things like recycle. Like, that's why they put the recycling bins right next to the trash bins in many places, because ideally you shouldn't have to accommodate for their laziness. Like, oh, I have to walk 10 more steps to put this in the recycling. I don't want to, I'll just put it in here. So they took it over there and put it right next to it. Ideally, you shouldn't have to accommodate for their laziness, but like, what's more realistic in what's going to actually get the goal to follow through and get the result that you want. And that's all the time we have for today in this episode. In the next episode, we will continue looking at different theories and models that health professionals use. There's some really cool stuff up ahead, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all staying happy, healthy, and hydrated. I really hope you're taking care of yourself and doing well. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.